Question number 131. Scenario: a company's compliance officer needs to ensure that all business communications over Microsoft Teams and a third-party messaging platform integrated via connectors are scanned for language that may indicate harassment or discrimination as per new HR policies. Which Microsoft Purview solution is designed to monitor communications for such policy violation? Option A: Data Lifecycle Management. Option B: Communication Compliance. Option C: Sensitivity Labeling. Option D: Subject Rights Request. The correct answer is option B: Communication Compliance. Microsoft Purview Communication Compliance is specifically designed to monitor and scan communications across Microsoft Teams and integrated third-party platforms for policy violations, including harassment, discrimination, and inappropriate language, flagging content for compliance officer review and remediation. The others serve different purposes. Data Lifecycle Management governs content retention and deletion. Sensitivity labeling classifies and protects documents and emails. And Subject Rights Request manage GDPR-related personal data requests. None provide the communication monitoring and policy violation detection that communication compliance delivers. Question number 132. Scenario: an administrator is tasked with protecting sensitive merger and acquisition documents. The solution must allow the files to be encrypted so that only members of the M&A team group can open them, and must prevent those users from printing or copying content to unsecured locations. Which Microsoft Purview capability, when configured within a sensitivity label, can directly enforce the specific access and usage restrictions? Option A: apply a retention schedule to delete files after 7 years. Option B: apply encryption with defined user permissions and usage rights. Option C: automatically run a PowerShell script upon label application. Option D: change the file storage location to a secure library. The correct answer is option B: apply encryption with defined user permissions and usage rights. Sensitivity label encryption with defined permissions and usage rights directly enforces these requirements, restricting decryption to the M&A team group only, while usage rights setting explicitly prevent printing and copying, embedding this restriction persistently into the file, regardless of where it is stored or shared. The others don't address access and usage control. Retention schedules govern content lifecycle and deletion timing. PowerShell script execution is not a sensitivity label configuration option, and labels don't change file storage locations. Encryption with granular permission and usage rights configuration is the precise capability that enforces both access restriction and content protection simultaneously. Question number 133. Scenario: the IT department of the multinational needs to establish a central configuration that defines the primary geographic region where customer content from their Microsoft 365 services will be stored at rest, and also controls whether user can share documents with people outside the organization. Where in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center can these organization-wide data governance settings be managed? Option A, in the billing section under purchase services. Option B, in the users section under active users. Option C, under org settings. Option D, in the support section under new service request. The correct answer is option C, under org settings. Org settings in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center is where organization-wide governance configurations are managed, including data residency preferences, defining where customer content is stored at rest, and external sharing controls governing whether user can share documents outside the organization. The others are unrelated. Billing manages subscription and purchases. Active users handles individual user account management, and support is for raising service requests. None provide the organization-wide data governance and sharing policy configuration that org settings delivers. Question number 134. Scenario: a security audit reveals that several service accounts have been granted permanent global reader role assignment just in case they are needed for reporting. The new security policy states that any read-only access to audit logs and directory data must be activated only for a justified pre-approved task and deactivated immediately after. Which feature enables this just-in-time, time-bound activation of eligible roles like Global Reader? Option A, Dynamic Groups. Option B, Access Packages. Option C, Privileged Identity Management, PIM. Option D, Role Assignable Groups. The correct answer is option C, Privileged Identity Management, PIM. PIM directly addresses this requirement. It converts permanent global reader assignment into eligible assignment that must be explicitly activated for a justified pre-approved task with time-bound access that automatically deactivates after a defined period, eliminating standing privileges entirely. The others serve different purposes. Dynamic groups automatically manage group membership based on user attributes. Access packages governs entitlement management for broader access bundles. And role assignable groups enable groups to be assigned role, but don't provide just-in-time activation or time-bound controls. Only PIM delivers the on-demand, justified, time-limited role activation the security policy requires. Question number 135. Scenario: a Security Operations Center SOC analyst is investigating an incident. They notice a single alert showing a user clicking a malicious link in an email. Upon investigating, they discover correlated signals. The same user's device subsequently exhibited process injection attempts. And an hour later, there were unusual file accesses from that user's account in SharePoint. The analysts need a unified view. Which Microsoft security product provides this correlated cross-domain email, endpoint, identity, SaaS app, view of an attack for investigation and response? Option A, Microsoft Sentinel. Option B, Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Option C, Microsoft Defender XDR. Option D, Microsoft Purview Compliance Manager. The correct answer is option C, Microsoft Defender XDR. Microsoft Defender XDR is purpose-built for exactly this scenario. It automatically correlates signal across email, Defender for Office 365, endpoints, Defender for endpoint, identity, Defender for identity, and SaaS apps, Defender for cloud apps, into a unified incident view, giving the SOC analyst a complete attack chain from the initial phishing click to process injection to SharePoint file access. The others are insufficient alone. Sentinel is a broader SIEM or SOAR that aggregates logs but requires manual correlation rules rather than automatic cross-domain incident staging. Defender for Cloud focuses on cloud infrastructure and workload security posture, and Purview Compliance Manager tracks regulatory compliance obligations. None provide the automatic native cross-domain attack correlation that Defender XDR delivers. Question number 136. Scenario: a developer is building an automated agent to help the logistics department. This agent needs to fetch real-time package tracking statuses from a non-Microsoft legacy HTTP-based API and present summaries in Teams channel. The agent must securely authenticate to the external system using an API key. What is the primary technical requirement for building this agent to integrate with the external tracking system? Option A, the agent must be deployed on an Azure virtual machine. Option B, it requires a custom connector to interface with the external API. Option C, all users must have E5 licenses for the agent to function. Option D, the external system must first be migrated to Azure. The correct answer is option B. It requires a custom connector to interface with the external API. A custom connector is the primary technical requirement. It defines the external API's endpoint, authentication method, API, and data schema, allowing the Copilot agent built in Copilot Studio to securely communicate with the legacy HTTP-based tracking system and surface result in Teams without any infrastructure changes. The others are incorrect. No Azure VM is required as Copilot Studio is a managed platform. E5 licenses are not a prerequisite for agent functionality with external APIs. And migrating the external system to Azure is completely unnecessary. Custom connectors are specifically designed to integrate with existing non-Microsoft systems in their current form. Question number 137. Scenario: the HR department wants to create a self-service chatbot for employees to answer questions about annual leave balances and policy details. The answer should be sourced from the official HR policy PDF stored in a specific SharePoint library. The HR manager who has no coding experience needs to build and manage this solution. What type of AI agent is most suitable for the HR manager to create in this scenario? Option A, an advanced agent requiring deployment of Azure Kubernetes service. Option B, a pre-built financial forecasting agent from the Microsoft App Source. Option C, an agent built with a low-code or no-code studio that can be grounded in SharePoint data. Option D, an agent that requires writing custom C# code to parse the PDFs. The correct answer is option C, an agent built with a low-code or no-code studio that can be grounded in SharePoint data. Copilot Studio's low-code or no-code environment is perfect for this scenario. The HR manager can build a conversational agent without any coding experience, ground it directly in the SharePoint library containing official HR policy PDFs, and deploy it as a self-service chatbot for employees to query leave balances and policy details. The others introduce unnecessary complexity. Azure Kubernetes Service requires advanced infrastructure expertise far beyond a no-code requirement. A pre-built financial forecasting agent is scoped to finance use cases, not HR policy Q&A. And writing custom C# code directly contradict the no-coding experience requirement. Copilot Studio is precisely designed for this business user-led, data-grounded agent creation scenario. Question 38. Scenario: when a finance user asks Copilot in Excel to create a forecast based on Q3 sales data, the response is accurately based on the company's actual sales figures rather than generic public data or invented numbers. What critical step in the Copilot prompt lifecycle ensures the response is anchored to the organization's specific Q3 sales data? Option A, prompt auditing for compliance retention. Option B, grounding the prompt in the Microsoft Graph and semantic index. Option C, translating the prompt into multiple languages. Option D, running the prompt through a data loss prevention DLP check. The correct answer is option B, grounding the prompt in the Microsoft Graph and semantic index. Grounding is the critical step. The orchestration layer enriches the user's prompt by retrieving the organization's actual Q3 sales data through Microsoft Graph and a semantic index, anchoring the response to real, permission scope organization content rather than LLM's general training knowledge or fabricated figures. The others occur at different stages. Compliance retention auditing captures prompt history for regulatory purposes. Language translation is unrelated to the data accuracy. And DLP checks evaluate whether sensitive content should be blocked. None ensure the response is grounded in the organization's specific sales data, the way Microsoft Graph Retrieval does. Question number 139. Scenario: a research institute has a vast archive of project documentation across hundreds of SharePoint sites. They want to deploy an AI assistant that can answer complex natural language questions like what were the primary conclusions of all projects related to renewable energy from 2020 to 2022 by analyzing only the content within these sites. What is the design purpose of a ready-made SharePoint site agent in this context? Option A, to automatically archive all sites based on creation date. Option B, to analyze and interact with site content to extract insight and answer questions. Option C, to provision new SharePoint sites for each new research project. Option D, to manage user permissions and sharing settings across all sites. The correct answer is option B, to analyze and interact with site content to extract insight and answer questions. SharePoint site agents are specifically designed to analyze and interact with content within designated SharePoint sites, answering complex natural language questions by retrieving and synthesizing relevant information from the site's document, making them ideal for querying large archive like research institutes' project documentation. The others are incorrect. SharePoint agents don't archive sites based on creation date, provision new sites, or manage user permissions and sharing settings. Their sole design purpose is enabling intelligent, natural language interaction with site content to extract insight and answer questions grounded in that specific knowledge base. Question number 140. Scenario: a user's sign-in attempt is blocked. The sign-in logs show the attempt originated from the legitimate corporate device that is marked as compliant, and the user correctly entered their password and MFA code. The failure region is listed as conditional access policy blocked. Which of the following is least likely to be the direct cause of the sign-in failure given the provided information? Option A, the user is attempting to use a legacy authentication protocol. Option B, the sign-in locations is from a country not included in a trusted name locations policy. Option C, the user's account is flagged for unfamiliar sign-in properties by identity protection risk detection. Option D, the device, while compliant, is not also marked as hybrid Azure AD joined as required by policy. The correct answer is option A. The user is attempting to use a legacy authentication protocol. Legacy authentication is the least likely cause here because the scenario explicitly states the user successfully completed both password entry and MFA. Legacy protocols cannot support MFA challenges at all, meaning a legacy authentication attempt would never reach the MFA completion stage described in the scenario. The others remain plausible causes. An untrusted sign-in location could trigger a block regardless of MFA completion. An identity protection risk flag can block access even after successful authentication. And a policy requiring hybrid Azure AD join is a separate device condition from compliance status that could still block access. Only legacy authentication is directly contradicted by the facts provided in the scenario.